Okay, hello all you crazy people out there. My name is Michael. I like wizards and dragons and making games, and welcome back to Making Games. This is a bullet hell game. Last time we have implemented a couple different pickup item effects, which you can have, and give yourself some fun attributes. And today we are going to be taking that a little bit further. We're going to be implementing some more advanced pickup effects. I said that I was going to make a derived class for bullet types. I'm not actually sure about that because I thought about it a little bit more. And it might be fun and also slightly, like, ridiculously overpowered to, instead of subclassing bullet types, to instead give bullets attributes so that you can have a fire bullet that also explodes and also, like, recurses and shoots out more bullets that also explode. Just because that feels like the sort of ridiculous, over-the-top sort of thing that I would enjoy playing with in a game, and the whole thing would become much more chaotic very quickly. And I like chaos, at least in healthy doses of moderation. First, let's do something a little bit bored. Let's make a damage shield, because I intended to do that last time, and I did not have time to get around to it. So instead, let us duplicate the pickup sprite, pickup damage shield. Did I even spell that right? Who knows? This is a pretty long name. I did not. S-H-I-I-E-L-D. Let us give this maybe I don't know, like a steely gray dot in the middle. Again, programmer art will replace this with something better later. And we can also let's clone pick up more damage and instead pick up damage shield, and we can give you the appropriate sprite. And we can go looking at applying that effect. Let's see. And again, let me try and keep my workspace a little bit nice and clean. What I'm really interested in right now are the damage shield pickup, because I will be writing the code for that, and the player, because this is where the damage shield is going to live. So let's make this its own buff. Let's call this buff damage shield. And the duration can be 0, the value can be false. We can give this a countdown timer in the player step event. We can detect if the effect has expired. When it expires, the value can be set to false. And in the damage shield apply effect method, we can apply the damage shield. The value can be set to true, and the duration can be 10 seconds. And in the let's see, in on damage. Okay, we've already got invincible. So I think I'll actually just like springboard off of invincible and combine this condition with rather an or, and or this against self dot buff damage shield dot value. So if the player has a damage shield and if they get hit by a bullet, they will just not take damage. They will be considered invincible. Let me give you a drop, so pick up damage shield, and your odds for now can be 10 so that you are dropped every time. And I will take down one of you. What even? Why? Anyway. I am invincible. And oh, you know what? I need to actually take damage. Okay, I'm not taking damage here. I should have a couple seconds left, right? I think the last thing that I picked up was also a damage shield. Are we not expiring? Okay, it appears that our damage shield is not expiring. I do not know why that is. We are correctly sponging damage, so there is that. Damage shield value. This should. Oh, it's because I'm setting the fire rate to 0 when that expires. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, good job, me. The buff to the fire rate should be 1. Is that correct? Because it looked like I was firing very fast. Hang on, let me... If this is initialized to 10 shots per second, and our fire rate value is initialized to 1, this should be 1/10. Alright, well, it looks like it's working correctly now. Okay, just a typo, just making things weird. Let me just wait a couple more seconds to make sure that this wears off as it's supposed to, and there we go, it did, and I can now take damage. Oh, you know what? Should damage shields also affect, when you run into a foe? I kind of feel like it should be, just to be forgiving to the player. It just obviously won't, like, absorb the foe when you do that, but... Yeah, I guess I'll do that, just to be a little bit forgiving to the player. Maybe if I want to add, like, a hard mode, I will make that not the case, but... Anyway, damage shield effect works. I like another visual indication that the player has some sort of shield, so let me go and create myself a new sprite. This can be SPR damage shield, and I'm going to make this like just probably a ring around the player. Let me resize, let me make this 96 by 96, and let me make this like a yellow ring around the player. Maybe something like that. Okay, looks good. Anchor point can be the center. This I do want to have a circular collision mask. An elliptical collision mask. Actually, you know what? No, this really doesn't need a collision mask at all. Who cares? It's not going to be attached to an object. We're not going to have like a sub-object shield floating around over the player. Okay. This is just going to be a matter of when we're drawn. Let's see. Draw event. Draw self. If self.buff damage shield dot value. Draw sprite. SPR damage shield subimage 0. X is going to be self.x. Y is going to be self.y. Could have this fade over time the way that I have the pickups fade over time. All right, cool. We have a circular damage shield around us. That's fine. Very nice. And I'm just absorbing that, and in a couple seconds this should go away, and I can take damage again. Cool. Draw sprite extended then. X scale 1, Y scale 1, rotation 0, color C underscore white. Alpha can be the min of self.buff damage shields dot duration and 1. And this will cause it to fade over time. Ooh, cool. That one spawned 2. Anyway, it fades, and then we return to normal. Okay, good. We have a damage shield. Okay, so I can move this over to the completed list. Did that one ask me to, like, check off the... Where did that go? Oh, it actually didn't get moved over to the list. I was gonna say, did that just evaporate on me? But anyway. Let's see, I will hold off on the derived classes for bullet types. Does Hack and Plan allow you to, like, say a canceled, add a canceled column? Because I might do that. Anyway, derived classes for bullet types. Fire bullets, I'm going to do what I said at the beginning of the video and add attributes to bullets instead. Let's see. Let me go into the bullet class, and we're getting to the point where I really should organize my my asset browser a little bit. But we're going to go into bullet. Let us add some attributes that say self.attribute fire. We're going to set that to false. Self.attribute recursive. We're going to set that to false. Self.attribute explode. We're going to set that to false. And again, as I said, it is probably in the long run a better idea to have the bullets contain their own damage code rather than the entities containing their own damage code. This is Do I want to go back and undo this? Because I wasn't thinking about this in, like, episode 2 or whenever it was that I implemented this. Alright. We'll give bullets an apply effect method as well. As the pickup effects had, we can pass an entity as the parameter, and in the entity class, on collision with bullet, other.id.apply effect to ourselves. If this causes a problem later, having the on damage code being separate from the bullets, I might like refactor a bit, but hopefully I can't right now think of any situations where that would really be an issue. Let's see, apply effect. If self.attribute fire, and then if the other two attributes, if attribute recursive, if attribute explode. We'll start with recursive because that's going to be probably the simplest one to implement. We can simply shoot out maybe 6 more bullets in a ring or 8 more bullets in a ring around ourselves. This is going to look an awful lot like the entity radial shooting code. We're going to do something like this. Number of shots can be 8. For I is 0, I is less than 360, I plus equals 360 over n. We're going to create our new shot. We're going to... let's see, the shot velocity can be probably the same velocity that we had, right? Actually, no. That's just going to be 6. Shot angle is going to be I, and importantly, we should probably specify that shots.recursive is going to be false. Because we do not want to have infinitely recursive shots. Although it's not like there's going to be a runaway chain reaction, because if they just fly off the screen, they'll be lost and they won't like spawn more bullets or anything like that. But just to be on the safe side, let's not have recursive bullets, because that'll be just utter chaos and probably not a good thing. The attributes should probably be copied to the new shots. Other than that, so attribute recursive can be false, but if it's an explodey bullet or a fire bullet, it should the property should be inherited.
Hey.
And I will want to be a little bit perhaps stingy when it comes to giving those out, because that is suddenly going to cause the entire game to descend into chaos pretty quickly. Okay. Let's see. The player is going to shoot some recursive bullets. Oh, you know what? These also need to inherit the damage and the... Actually, no, the damage should probably just be 1 for... just so things aren't utterly stupid. And friendly, the shot also needs to inherit from our own friendly value. Okay, now we can get to the player shooting recursive bullets. If this goes well, I can make this a power-up that will drop. Boom. Alright. This is fun. Okay. They should probably have a little bit of a cooldown before they actually can damage anything, because I don't know if you saw it there, but when like this thing apparently now only takes like 1 hit to kill, and it only spawned off, I want to say, 5 other recursive bullets, and that's because 3 of them immediately contacted the enemy, destroyed it, and were removed from the field. So I think I'm going to deactivate these bullets for the first couple seconds of their existence. By default, self.active collision cooldown is going to be 0. In the step event, we can do our old favorite self.that minus equals dt if this is less than or equal to 0. We're going to activate ourselves by saying self.image. Is it mask? Mask index. It's going to be self.sprite index. And the recursive bullets mask index is going to be equal to -1 so that it doesn't have one at first, and shots dot this is going to be like, let's make it a quarter of a second before it can be activated. Okay, that did not seem to fix the problem. Okay, you know what? There's an alternate solution, which might include just having a variable to mark an entity that will be ignored by the shot. And that will make it so that the bullets just do not affect the thing that caused it to go recursive. And in the entity collision with bullet, where even is that? Okay, over here, in the collision with bullet, if self.friendly is same as the other thing's friendly status, return if self.id is equal to other.id.ignore return. That should hopefully that will cause bullets to not affect the things that they like recursed off of. Okay, that did it. So when the bullets hit a thing, they explode. And if I can actually get them to, like, collide with something else, that would be great. Alright. The bullets can affect other things, just not the things that they hit. Let me make this room a little bit more dense so that we can have a little bit more of the effect. Hopefully. Okay, good. And the recursive bullets ignore the thing that it hit, but they do not ignore the other things in the room. That's good. Let's make this a little bit less dense now. We can commit this change. What else is there? There is... Oh, I need to actually make a pickup for recursive bullets, don't I? See, we're going to duplicate your sprite. We can make your little middle dot. Oh, did I already have a green? I've already got a green, but it's a different shade of green. Let's make you blue. The recursive bullets can be have a blue dot. I can pick up recursive. I can give you the sprite, and the apply effect is going to let's see. So the player is going to want, in addition to some of these buffs, self buff recursive. This is going to look an awful lot like the damage shield, in that it's just going to be a true or false, and it is going to count down over here in the step event like this. And in the apply effect for the recursive bullet, we can set this to true. Did I set damage shield? This should also be a true false. Okay, good. That is a true false. What did I clone it off of? Oh, I cloned it off of more damage, didn't I, for an extra point of damage? Okay. And then we can actually apply that by saying player, when the player shoots, if this buff is enabled, we can add the recursive attribute to the bullet. And just for fun, let's add that to the drop table as well. There are starting to be a lot of potential pickups. There is a 10% chance of each of these happening, which means that there is a 0.9 raised to the 5th power. 1 minus this. There is only a 41% chance of something not dropping. Should probably reduce these a little bit. I'll fine-tune the drop odds later. Recursive bullets probably honestly should be a lot rarer. Maybe like a 0.5% chance instead of a 5% chance, but let's see. Something will probably drop eventually, right? No? Alright. Did not get lucky, apparently. Anyway, what did I do here? This is a player buff for recursive bullets. Okay. Next, let's implement fire. Let's start playing with fire. So, in the base entity class, because this is something that probably could affect anything, we're gonna have a couple buffs of our own, I think. Honestly, this is more of a debuff, but to each their own. Self dot buff fire. Behaviorally, it's going to work the same as a buff inside the code. So we're going to actually give the regular entity a step event, and the things that inherit from the regular entity will also inherit the step event. That is going to work like this. Player should call event inherited from the step event, and it already does, even though there's nothing in it. Foes should also call the event inherited from the step event, and it already does, even though, again, there's nothing to inherit. You do not override, or do not inherit the step event, and you also do not inherit the step event. Okay. Next, if something is on fire, we should probably account for that. If we are on fire, then we can do a little bit of a damage tick, and this is also gonna be damage. Initialize the damage cooldown to 0. And then in the step event, if we are on fire, if self dot buff fire. Oh, you know what? I am like, okay, was using the wrong values. Dot damage cooldown is greater than 0. Firstly, this needs to minus equals the game delta time. Self dot on damage. Does this take any parameters? On damage does take a bullet. Okay. I won't call on damage. I'll just subtract 1 from health directly, and I should probably move the like the check death code to its own method, and that would look something like this, and it'll probably look similar to the enemies as well, to the foes. Yeah, if health is less than or equal to 0, then self.die. Because there may be other situations where you want to check to see if something should still be alive or not, such as here. Okay, and getting back to the main subject. We're gonna check death when we take damage from the fire. we're also going to reset the damage cooldown to, let's say, 1. There's a lot of magic numbers here. This needs to have like a skeleton function because it is being called in the base entities step event, but it does not need to have a die method because that is not called anywhere. And when I say it needs to, I don't mean like GameMaker will enforce it the way that other like statically typed compile time checking object-oriented languages are with interfaces, but I want it to be that way since I am calling this in the step event potentially. I do not want to ever have, even though entity shouldn't be instantiated directly. I do not want to have any possible situations where maybe I forget to implement a check death method, and the game crashes. So let us go back to the player when we shoot. Let's set the fire attribute fire of the bullets, and that is going to cause damage to tick down on these things over time. Actually, hang on, wait. When you pick up when you set something on fire, rather, when an entity collides with a bullet, is the fire effect ever actually conferred? Did I actually get there yet? Apply effect if attribute fire. I did not. Okay. In that case, let's just borrow the buff fire code. Like this. We're gonna just set that to true. The duration is gonna be like 4, and you'll take up to 4 damage from fire, which is actually a lot. Hang on, wait. I just want to shoot you once, 2, 3, 4. Hang on. Okay. Do not know why. Oh, do I also need to set this to... Probably need to set that to 1 as well, don't I? So that you only start taking damage like 1 second after it landed. The fire duration should be 4. We should not be getting set to false anywhere. When fire is applied to a foe from a bullet, fire value is set to true, just so that this part of code runs to begin with. And then the duration is set to 4, which means that we are going to have 4 seconds before the fire effect stops being a thing. Right? And then the damage cooldown is 1, meaning that it should be 1 second before we take damage. Oh, this is greater than 0. It needs to be less than or equal to 0. Okay, that would explain why that was just running continuously. 2, 3, 4, and you get like burnt to a crisp on your own. I am going to, now that I see that that is working, I am going to decrease the duration to 2, so that you're only going to take 2 extra damage from fire. Because 4 is a lot. That'll take down something that has 4 HP, just like as it is. Next, I want to draw some visual indication over entities when they are on fire, so I can go into, for example, the draw event. Oh god. Okay, you know what? How about draw end is like basically end step, right? This will still get drawn onto the application surface. If self.buff fire.value, let's draw a status. A status fire, and this can just be like an 8x8 sprite that looks sort of like flame-ish. Okay, you know what? 8x8 isn't enough for someone with my non-existent pixel art skills to be able to like draw something that looks like a flame. Let's just make that an orange square. Draw sprite. I will probably make this like an actual fire particle later, but anyway. Same goes for the bullets. If a bullet is on fire, it'll have a particle effect. Status fire, subimage 0, self.x, self.y. Hopefully this should just draw a little marker on top of entities that are on fire. Good. Okay. That's gonna perfectly blend into these things, isn't it? By coloration. Let's make it red. Alright. So that is the fire bullet effect. Okay, I can also cross off recursive bullets because I did that as well. Explosive bullets. I have been recording for a half hour. I'm not gonna say no to the possibility of having a derived class for bullet types, but right now I don't think I need it. Can I create a column? No, I don't think I can. Can I move this to like purgatory? Can I move this to send to backlog and off of the active board? All right. The backlog purgatory section of Hacking Plan is going to be where the scrapped cards go for things that I end up not going with. Okay, so pickup effects, explosive bullets. That's going to be. Let me create an explosion entity. Actually, you know what? Speaking of derived classes. Alright, I think explosions will be derived from bullets, so that actually kind of worked out after all. We're gonna need to do some event inherited. We are going to have a damage, we're going to have a friendliness value, we are going to have an ignore value, which is going to probably just eternally be set to no one. Attribute fire, recursive explode. Those are all going to be false no matter what. Apply effect is going to just... I'm going to make that empty for now. It is just going to damage whatever it happens to collide with. The step event... in fact, let's not have any of this at all. Explosions will basically damage whatever is around them on, like, the moment that the explosion happens. And with that in mind, let me create myself an SPR bullet explosion, which is just going to be like a big version of the existing explosion sprite. More or less. You can have a proper circular collision mask. We can set our sprite to U. And I think instead of doing anything in the end step, and I will just erase everything that was in the regular step event because I don't want that to run. I'm going to say, there's no reason that those need to be anything anymore because they are not acted upon later, but self.active is going to be false. Actually, hang on. Can I mentioned this before and did not end up doing anything with it, but if I go into end step, self.mask index, I can set this to -1 if I want mask index to not be anything, right? And if I want something to have no collision mask. Yeah, okay. I think that's what it is. So it'll affect everything exactly once. Its image will stay on the screen for a little bit. I'll give it a 2-second lifespan, and like many other things, I'll have it fade off. Draw a sprite. I'm not gonna draw a sprite extended. I'm not gonna show myself typing this whole thing out again because I've done this several times by now. Okay, so bullets will draw their sprite, they'll fade out over time, and the player shot.attribute. Let's make this attribute explode is true. And this should cause an explosion to happen, and when the bullet collides with something, if an explosion happens, bullet explosion, shot.friendly equals self.friendly, and I won't have this ignore whatever it hits, because that's kind of the point of an explosion. Alright. Missed. And they okay. Okay, you know what? The explosions are going to be, visually indicated with a particle effect anyway. I can probably safely get rid of all of the garbage in the end step with the image mask anyway, and the effect will be the same. And also the draw event. Okay. The best solution is usually the simplest. Come the final game, the explosion bullets won't even draw themselves. This will exist as basically a collision mask for other things, and on the moment of collision, we'll just burst some particle effects, because everyone likes particle effects, really. Okay. I think everything is in working order. Explosion bullets. Oh, let's also... We won't inherit recursive. This will always be false. But shot.attribute fire can do that. And attribute explode will also be false, because that makes no sense to have an explosion that explodes. Or maybe it makes all the sense in the world. I can't tell. If a fiery explosion hits something, it'll set it on fire. I will get to fine-tuning this later. Let's see, when the player shoots, I can probably get rid of all these hard-coded things now. Right. Right. And I think that's all I wanted to do in this video. We've got some of the fun bullet effects implemented. There are some waves. I think I will wait until after I implement more faux behavior before I do that. Oh, you know what I also need to do? Pick up explosion. And this color can be magenta. How horrifying. Magenta. Pick up explosion and pick up explosive. I'll give it a better name. Like this, and our apply effect. Oh, I also need to actually create a little data structure for buff explosive. Let's see, let's have this tick down. Let's in the I should probably also give a buff status to the fire bullets as well. What's attribute explode? Attribute explode can be true. And the last one is buff fire bullets. Like this. And this will also need to tick down. This will also need a power-up object to go with it. I thought I was missing something. And I guess in the faux class we can have a we can add all these other pickups to the drop possibilities. This will be purple. First color I saw. Pick up recursive bullet, pick up fire bullet, bullet. Okay, going a little too fast here. Anyway, that's that. This is buff fire bullets. Value can be true, duration can be 10, and that should be it. Let's see. Where's the foe? Here. All right, let's update the spawn table. Okay. Let me just run the game now just to make sure nothing goes horribly wrong. And when you die, you did not drop anything. Please drop something. Why are we not dropping anything? Okay, I'm now suspicious that, like, the drop odds code is not correct. Because the odds that nothing would have dropped in all of that are rather low.
Hey.
This should generate a random number between 0 and 100 floating point, so fractions are allowed. If a random number between 0 and 100 is less than 5 a bunch of times, then something should drop. I have a hard time believing I'm just getting that insanely unlucky. Okay, that one dropped something. Was I really just getting insanely unlucky? I guess so. Are you telling me that in all of that only one number? How many random rolls were there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Almost on that one. I lost count. So there are 42 random rolls in this list, and only one of them was less than 5. Like, 42 random rolls between 0 and 100, and only one of them was less than 5. Probability, my worst enemy. This is unreal. Well, I got a couple things that time. Alright, well... I guess I won't be trying my luck in the lottery any day soon. This is an amalgam of several things. Added pickup effects for some of the fancy bullet types. I'm going to end things off here. This can be, after this finishes committing, tag 0.4. So if you're following this along and you want to see the code, look for the 0.4 tag in the GitHub repository. That'll be the progress for this week. Let us take stock of what we've gotten done here. So, oh, you know what? I also can probably bring this out of purgatory because I did end up doing this after all. Sends to board Sprint 1 gameplay, and we did end up implementing that after all. Just for reasons that were a little bit different from what I expected them to be. Alright, cool. It even stayed in the in-progress board. So we are 57% of the way through my, my estimation for point values for the things in Sprint 1. 62% of the way through the total number of work items, which probably means that there's a couple lesser items at the bottom, right? Yeah. In terms of the project as a whole, we are 15% of the way there in terms of points, 17% of the way there in terms of work items. Next time, let's see. I said I would probably hold off on waves until I've got a couple different foe types in the game, and I definitely think I will be sticking with that theory. So foe behavior, default behavior, bob up and down. Foe behavior once they reach their stable state. That's to do with waves and how the foes behave at the beginning of waves. Foe behavior, aim at the player. I believe I've already got one of those. Shoot in a spiral. That's not quite the same as the radial one. Chase the player. That's going to be fun. Explode after a certain amount of time. That's also going to be fun. Player special. I'm imagining like an ult attack for the player with a cooldown every 30 seconds. You can use a big fire breath attack or something like that. Because I kind of want to make the player character in this game a dragon for some reason. Just because dragons are cool. I'm going to cautiously say that these are the only things I'm going to attempt to do in the next video, because these have taken a little bit longer than I really wanted to, and at least the videos at the beginning of the series I want to be a little on the shorter side. So, for now, my name is Michael. I like wizards and dragons and making games. In the next part, we shall be working on some different foe types for this here Bullet Hill game. If you want the code for this, look for the GitHub repository down in the video description. Look for the 0.4 release, as I said earlier. That will be the progress that we've made up to this point. I have a Patreon, so if you want to contribute towards any of these game dev videos being made, there will be links to that in all the usual places as well. You could see some fun things like your name in the credits, or a verbal shout out of yourself on the end screen. Sometimes I post a preview of my future plans. If you decided to pledge, I would definitely appreciate it. Otherwise, I try to post about 2 game dev videos a week, one of these and one tutorial. I hope you all found this interesting, and I will see you all later. Special thanks to Zenjamin, Then Nothing Happened, Squarecrow, Sindra Larson, Posho, Gunnar Clovis, Game Maker, Emily Koyo, Edward Holt, DJ Gibbles, and Army Umbruster for supporting these videos. If you want to see your name in the credits or hear yourself shouted out at the end like this, head on over to the Patreon page down in the video description to join the fun.